So, you're thinking of going to DragonCon in 2024? Well, whether you've already decided or you're still on the fence, you probably have some questions. And as someone who's been going since 2008, I probably have the answers. Welcome to another episode of How to DragonCon, and my name is Kong. I will be your guide. Today, I will be going over 10 of the most frequently asked questions that I see all the time on social media. Hopefully, after hearing my answers, this will help a lot of you feel a little bit more comfortable about your plans for DragonCon in 2024. Question number one: when and where is DragonCon? So for 2024, it starts on Thursday, August the 29th and ends on Labor Day, which is Monday, September the 2nd. As for the location, that's going to be Atlanta, Georgia. More specifically, these hotels that I have currently on the screen. Note the Sheraton is an outdated name. It is now called the Cortland Grand. Of course, if you're a newbie to the con, you might be expecting a convention center. That is not the case. It is spread out over several blocks, so be ready to do a lot of walking. Question number two: are there single day passes? Well, you happen to be asking this question in August. They were released August 1st and will be available up to the con unless they sell out, and that has happened in the past. On the screen, you will see the prices for each day as well as the one for the full weekend badge. The prices should not change as we get closer, but like I said, the single days do sell out, so you might want to grab them sooner than later. Question number three is related to two, and that is, what is the best day to come? Well, if you were to ask me, I would say Friday is probably the best one, and Sunday after that, and Saturday third. The reason I say that is because Saturday is just so packed that if you're a newbie and coming for the first time, you may end up having a bad experience because you're just waiting so much in line. You may not even be able to get into some of the big attractions and events that you're trying to see. And it may just kind of leave a bad taste in your mouth when the day's over. And just an aside, Thursday is not even a full day because programming doesn't start till late afternoon and evening. Not to mention, a lot of the things are closed and not even open, like the dealer hall, artist alley, gaming, and the celebrities have not arrived yet either. As for Monday, everyone's starting to pack up, or they may have left already, so that's not the best day to go either. Question number four: when is the schedule coming out? Well, traditionally that is not released until a week before the con, maybe a few days before or after, depending on the year. And the best place to find that is going to be on the App Store. Go ahead and download the DragonCon app because the 2023 info will still be in there. You're more or less just waiting for that 1 week mark to get an updated schedule for 2024. I always recommend to newbies to go ahead and download the previous year's app so that you can be familiar with it. Be familiar with the layout, look at some of the maps and the documents. Again, all you're waiting is for the schedule to actually update with the different topics for the panels as well as their locations in case they may have changed. Question number five, related to the schedule: what is the best thing to see? What are the must-see, must-do events? This is actually really hard to answer because if you ask 100 different attendees, you're going to get 100 different answers. That said, a lot of the people will probably tell you to catch the parade, maybe the night at the aquarium. Requires a separate ticket, by the way. The Friday night costuming contest, the Sunday night masquerade, the dealer hall. However, some of the things that I would recommend, because all those big things are going to have everyone else vying to get into the door as well. It's going to be pretty crowded, so if you're okay with that, go ahead and wait and line up. They are the big events for a reason. It's because they are big attractions. But something that I would recommend is catching a voice actor panel, especially if it's improv, especially if it's later at night, so that they can be a little bit more risque in what they're saying. I'd also recommend a small fan panel, whether that's on something that you're interested in or just something that you've always been curious about but not quite sure. If nothing else, at least you get to break away from the hustle and bustle of the crowd. You're in a small room, you've got air conditioning. It's a good place to rest your feet. And finally, I would actually recommend the art show over the dealer hall if you're just there for one day, because you're going to see more unique, one-of-a-kind artists and the works that are on display, and you can certainly take some of them home if you're the high bidder as well. Oh, and one more thing, but that's going to be saved for question number 6, and that is, where are the parties at? Of course, one of the things I would recommend is checking out the big nighttime dance parties. There's usually a few every night. They start around 7 or 8 o'clock. They go until 2. Some of the late night raves will pretty much go on till sunrise. And there's plenty of them scattered about all the different hotels. I can't tell you that one is better than another. They actually kind of changed year by year. Sometimes they even change hour by hour. It may be really dull in the room at one point, and if you just come back later, you're going to find a totally different vibe. It may be really popping off, whereas it wasn't earlier. In addition to those, of course, the whole con is a giant party. Just go around and walk through the different hotels. You are going to see people having a good time, dancing, music all around. Especially nowadays, the hotels have pretty much gotten into having their own DJs on the main lobby, so that'll be there as well. And last but not least, probably the kind that people and newbies are looking for just from hearing lore about DragonCon are room parties. Those are more or less invite only, and apparently the con has started to crack down on some of them, so it's not really going to be advertised. You just kind of have to know the right person that'll invite you to that room party. Question number 7, I came to meet guest X. How do I interact with guest X? Well, there's two main interactions that you can have with celebrity guests. The first one, and this more simpler one to explain, is the professional photo op. That is run by Epic Photo Op, so you can go on their website. The pre-sales have already started for 2024. They will keep adding new names, the schedule, and combos as well as time gets closer. But this is a very, very short interaction. It may take about 10 seconds. You just get in line at your scheduled time, you shake the person's hand, you take a photo, click, and you move on to the next fan, because they are trying to accommodate hundreds of fans, usually within a 20 to 30 minute window. So it's a very, very quick process, but you do get to keep your picture. And of course, if you want a JPEG, it's a little bit extra. The second interaction type that you can have with a celebrity, which is a little more personal, you get a little more time with them, and that is in the Walk of Fame, which is a giant ballroom where all the guests are. They each have their own table and sign, as well as the prices, and I'll come back to that in just a second. But usually at the table, you have the bare minimum option to get an autograph. Some of the guests also allow selfies with your camera. It just kind of depends on the guest, how busy they are, and their discretion. For the most part, every guest is going to be at their table all day, with the exception of breaks, lunchtime, panels, and the photo ops. Question number 8, how much do those photo ops and autographs cost? Unfortunately, you will not know the autograph pricing up front. DragonCon just does not disclose that, and I assume it's because some of the guests wait till the last minute to finally decide on that price. However, you can find the photo op prices well in advance, and typically it's a good rule of thumb. Depending on what their photo op price is, their autographs will be similar, if not a little bit lower. And same thing if the person offers selfies at their table, it's typically a little bit lower than the professional photo op. Number 9, is there a dress code, or is there a dress code at a certain event, panel, or dance party? I used to not even think about this because I've been going for so long, and I know that DragonCon is pretty lax when it comes to what you can wear, even when it comes to costuming, as it tends to get a little bit more risque at night. But no, there is no dress code per se. If you're going to a certain panel or dance party based on Star Wars, you don't have to dress up in anything in Star Wars. In fact, most people just show up in regular clothes for the con and many of the events. I would say an overwhelming amount of people are actually in normal clothes, or maybe just some themed outfit. Cosplays are kind of hard to wear all day, and it's hard to do it for every specific event. Certainly there's people who do it, but again, if you're coming as a newbie, it is perfectly fine just to come in a t-shirt and shorts and comfortable shoes. Question number 10. In a related note to the previous question, I've also heard newbies ask, can I bring a backpack? Can I bring a bag? Can I bring my own food? And again, DragonCon is very lax on all of this. The answer is yes, yes, yes. Definitely bring a bag or backpack, whatever you prefer. Just know that you will have to lug it around. There's no lockers or storage places. Whatever you bring with you, you are carrying the whole day. But it is actually recommended to have something, because you will inevitably buy some swag. You will have some different photo ops or autographs and stuff that you want to store with you. And of course, if you want to save some money, you're going to bring some snacks and food and drinks. But there are plenty of food options. They just will be a little bit hiked up in price, whether that's from the hotels or the nearby food court. As a bonus, just wanted to touch briefly on lodging and parking. If you haven't gotten lodging and accommodation sorted out by this point, I'm sorry to tell you that it's probably too late. You can certainly try your luck with the DragonCon Rooms Facebook group to see if anyone wants to cancel theirs and transfer it to you at the last minute. My best advice for you at this point is basically stay at a hotel near the MARTA and just kind of come in. Keeping in mind that MARTA does stop running at 1 a.m., so if you stay late, you may have to Uber back to your hotel. And whatever you do, do not get an Airbnb, because those are notorious for canceling on people the last minute, and you're just left stuck with days until the event with no type of accommodation over your head. So those are the questions I see all the time on Reddit, on Facebook, and pretty much everywhere else. If I've left anything out or you still have a question, feel free to ask it below. Otherwise, I will see you at the con and hope you have a great time.